What's up, everybody? Week 12 in the NFL is upon us. First game I got on my little notebook here or whatever. There it is. Denver -2 at Carolina. 2-point home dogs. Over-under set at 36 in this game. Broncos are 6-1 straight up their last 7 versus Carolina, and they're 5-2 against spread versus the Panthers. Broncos are 4-10 against spread their last 14 overall. Denver's 1-6 straight up their last 7 overall. Broncos are 1-7 straight up their last 8 road games. Panthers are 4-1 against spread their last 5 overall. Carolina's 3-15 straight up their last 18. Broncos have the second fewest passing TDs this year. Sam Darnold starting for the Panthers. Denver ranks 3rd in scoring defense. Broncos are 1-5 straight up when their opponent scores 17 or more points this year. Panthers D held the Ravens and Falcons to a combined 28 points their last 2 games. Broncos offense ranks 28th in DVOA. I think Carolina can do enough at home to pull out this win and cover the spread. I will not be betting on this fucking game with my money, though. It's a stay away game from me, but if I were to pick a side, that's the way I would roll. Next up, Tampa Bay. 3.5-point road favorites in Cleveland to face the Browns. Over under 42.5 on this one. Unders 5-0 in the last 5 meetings. Bucks are 4-1 against spread their last 5 versus the Browns, and 4-1 straight up. Tampa is 1-6-1 against spread their last 8 overall. Bucks are 13-7 straight up their last 20 overall. Tampa's 1-8 straight up their last 9 versus the AFC North. Browns are 2-5 against spread their last 7 overall and 1-6 straight up. Cleveland 7-1 against spread their last 8 versus the NFC South. Browns have lost 7 straight games played on Sunday. Most games are played on Sunday. That's not a good streak. Cleveland's 2-9 straight up their last 11 games as an underdog. Bucks are pretty healthy finally. Bodes well for them. Browns rank 4th in offensive DVOA and 31st in defensive DVOA. I like Tampa to win this game. I like them to cover the spread. I see them winning by like 5-7 points, something like that. I don't see it a crazy out-of-hand game, but I like them to win this one enough, but not enough to put my money on. Again, this is a stay-away game for me. I just believe in Tom Brady and Godwin and Evans and everybody else they got in Tampa Bay on that offense to get the job done. Baltimore, 4-point road favorites in Jacksonville to face the Jags. I will be betting on this game. I love the Baltimore Ravens. Over-under set at 43.5 on this one. Ravens are 0-4-1 against spread in Jacksonville. Underdogs 5-1 against spread their last 6 versus. Baltimore's 1-5 against spread their last 6 versus the Jags. I know you're saying, well, all these stats point to Jacksonville. Home team is 8-2-1 against spread their last 11 meetings. The unders 5-2-1 their last 8 meetings. Ravens are 2-4 against spread their last 6 overall. 5-1 straight up. Baltimore's 10-4 straight up their last 14 versus Jacksonville. Ravens are 4-1 against spread their last 5 road games. Baltimore's 9-2 straight up versus the AFC South. Jags are 1-6 against spread their last 7 overall and 1-6 straight up as well over that same span. Jacksonville's lost 5 straight versus AFC North opponents. Travis Etienne will face Baltimore's run D that ranks 3rd in the league. Roquan Smith has helped Patrick Queen definitely, and that whole Baltimore defense. They're solid level 1, 2, and 3 throughout that entire defense. They are good, and they have been playing so much better the last couple weeks. Jags are 1-5 in games decided by 7 or less points this year. Baltimore's red zone efficiency is what has been the issue here, and that's why they have been so close and not covered a lot of spreads early. I think that's going to change. I see it changing, maybe not dramatically where they're going to jump way up on this number, but they're only converting 52.6% right now. And even if they can bump that up to 60-65%, that'd be a big movement. And I like Baltimore to win this game and cover. I think Jacksonville's so overhyped all the time. Trevor Lawrence, will he be a good quarterback or not? I don't know, but I think he's way overhyped at this point. How many career wins does he have? All right. Houston, 1-8-1, plus 13.5 in Miami to face the Dolphins, over under 47. Favorites 5-0 against spread. Home teams 4-0 against spread. Houston's 1-4 against spread last 5 overall and 0-5 straight up. Texans are 4-2 against spread their last 6 versus the Dolphins. Houston's 8-2 straight up their last 10 versus Miami. Texans are 1-5 straight up their last 6 on the road. Dolphins are 2-5 against spread their last 7 overall. Miami's 4-1 straight up their last 5 games. Tua leads the league in touchdown rate, 7.3%. Yards gained per pass attempt, 9.1. Yards per completion, 12.9. Passer rating, 118.4. And QBR, 83.1. Helps having Hill and Waddle for sure, but I don't know, man. Kid, if he stays healthy, he should be serious consideration for the MVP award as well at the end of the year. Jeff Wilson Jr., he's got 170 rushing yards and a pair of touchdowns, one TD in 2 games with the Dolphins. Texans allow more rush yards per game against them than any other team in the NFL. Davis Mills out at QB. That means Kyle Allen will be the starting quarterback. Texans point differential this season is a -71. I like Miami to win and cover this number, but I don't like them enough to put money on them. Maybe when I do one of my like $1, $2, $5 parlays where I do like 8 to 12 teams on a couple tickets, and then another couple I'll do like 4 to 6 teams on a couple tickets, and I'll put those small dollar amounts on them. Miami will be on them, same with some of the other games that I mentioned, but Baltimore is the only one so far that I will be playing my own money on this week out of the games I have talked about. Chicago +6 on the road in New York to face the Jets. 6-point home favorites, over under 38.5 on this one. Bears are 5-0-1. Last 6 versus the Jets. That's against the spread. Chicago's 2-4 against spread their last 6 overall. Bears are 1-7 straight up their last 8 games. Chicago's 5-0 straight up their last 5 versus the Jets. Bears are 1-6 straight up their last 7 road games. Chicago's 4-0-1 against spread their last 5 in New York. Jets are 5-2 against spread their last 7 overall and straight up. Jets are 2-8 straight up their last 10 versus the NFC North. New York is 4-8 against spread when they are favored. How is Justin Fields' shoulder? That's the big question. Zach Wilson benched by the Jets. Bears run D ranked 2nd. Jets have a top 10 D in total yards and scoring. 29th. Bears run D ranks 29th. Sorry, correct myself. I thought that was an ND. It is a 9 that I just fucking wrote down shittily. There's the stats on that game if you want to know what I'm reading off of. Trevor Siemian would be a huge fucking drop-off from Justin Fields at QB, so keep an eye on this number. It's been climbing every day. I got it at a decent number. I think it was 3 at the start of the week. Today, when I played it, before I made this video this morning, or I played it this morning, I'm making the video right now. It's about 4:45 Friday. The number 6 now. Mike White should be better than Zach Wilson on the Jets side of things. Bears defense has suffered greatly since trading Roquan Smith to Baltimore. That's an understatement and a half. I'll be playing the Jets on the money line for, well, it depends. As long as that's more than $1.05, 1.5 on there. I'm probably going to stay away from this game, but I like the Jets to win and cover. They should be able to win by a touchdown, but that's all dependent on whether Justin Fields plays with that separated shoulder or not. I think if the Bears are smart to hold him out, but you never know in the NFL, especially when a player really wants to play as well. We'll see how that breaks down. That's why I'm not going to put money on that game. Cincinnati Bengals, 3-point road favorites in Tennessee to face the Titans. Bengals are 6-4, Titans 7-3 at home. Over under 42.5 on this one. I will be putting money on this game as well. I will be playing this one quite a bit. I think this number is put out there as a very public number. I think the wrong team is favored in this game, but I understand why Vegas put the number where they did, because most of the public's going to put their money on Cincinnati as long as they're not a crazy favorite. And then you might get some sharp action that'll counter that on Tennessee, I'm guessing. I haven't looked at any of the numbers. That's just how I'm seeing it play out this week. Bengals are 4-0 against spread in Tennessee. Cincy is 5-0 against spread their last 5 versus Titans. Underdogs 5-1 against spread their last 6 meetings. Bengals are 7-1 against spread their last 8 games overall. Cincy is 9-2 against spread their last 11 on the road. Bengals are 5-1 straight up versus the AFC South. Titans are 7-1 straight up their last 8 overall and 8-0 against spread. Tennessee are 1-6 straight up versus the AFC North. Vrabel is 8-0 straight up as a head coach of the Titans when playing on 10 days rest, which the Titans are, coming off their Thursday night win against Green Bay last week. Jamar Chase could be back for the Bengals Sunday. That could be a huge difference maker in this game. I don't think the difference in this game to me is the Titans D-line. I think they can dominate. I don't think they'll get the 9 sacks that they put up in last year's playoff game when the Bengals edged them out on the road to their Super Bowl loss to the Rams. But I also don't think that Tannehill's going to throw 3 picks like he did in that game either on Tennessee's side of the ball. I think this is going to be a tight, low-scoring game, but I like Tennessee to win this one by a field goal in the end, and I will be putting money on Tennessee on the money line. I'll be parlaying them with Baltimore probably. I'll be putting both them on the spread parlayed together for sure. Tennessee and Baltimore, and probably 1 or 2 other games that I'll be mentioning going forward. Atlanta, 4.5-point road dogs in Washington to face the Commanders. Over-under set at 40.5 on this one. These numbers are all as of Friday morning when I did all my I started my research on Wednesday every week, did a bit more Thursday, and finished it up Friday morning like I usually do. Sometimes if I do the video Saturday, I'll always update the numbers on the Saturday before I do it. So it's not old numbers for you guys. When I put it out, it'll be same day numbers. Road teams 5-0 against the spread. Falcons are 6-1 straight up their last 7 versus Washington. Atlanta's 5-1 against the spread in Washington. Falcons are 1-4 against spread their last 5 overall after starting the year 6-0, I believe it was. Atlanta's 1-6 straight up in their last 7 road games. Commanders are 5-1 against spread their last 6 overall, but 5-1 straight up. Falcons ranked 31st in passing offense. Weather. It could be raining in this one. That could change a lot of things in this game. Commanders D ranked 2nd in rushing DVOA. Kyle Pitts is out. He's on IR for Atlanta. This game will definitely be... Keep an eye on Cordarrelle Patterson's status for this as well. I'm not sure what he's listed at, but I know he was limited or questionable or doubtful for this week's game. I'll be staying away from this one. I could see Atlanta winning 21-20 just as easily as I could see Washington winning like 24-21 or something. I'm going to roll with Atlanta to cover the spread and Washington to win by a field goal for the sake of this video, but I'm not going to put money on this game. And all the games I'm not putting money on, once again, I will be looking for player props, and I will be looking at in-game action for both player props and on game totals, spreads, etc., and see what flexibility I can get during the games live. But I don't do my shows live yet because I'm not getting paid to do them. So we'll see what happens in the future. LA Chargers, 3-point road favorites in Arizona to face the beat-up Cardinals team. Over-under set at 48 on this one. Chargers are 4-1 against spread their last 5 versus the Cards, and 4-1 straight up as well. LA is 5-2 against spread their last 7 games overall. Chargers are 5-0 against spread their last 5 on the road. Chargers are 5-0 against spread in Arizona. Cards are 2-4 against spread last 6 overall, and 2-5 straight up their last 7. Arizona has lost 10 of their last 11 games at home. Cards are 1-5 straight up versus the AFC West. Kyler Murray, is he playing? Is he in? Is he out? Will it be Colt McCoy again? That's bad news for the Cardinals. Cards might keep Murray out until after their bye week, which is next week, I believe, if I remember correctly. A healthy Keenan Allen is huge for the Chargers. Saw what a difference both him and Williams being back for LA made last week, even though Williams is out again or doubtful with that sore ankle he acquired during the game, his first game back. Keenan Allen is huge and could be and should be the difference in this game, as the Cards past D ranks 23rd in the league. I'm going to be picking LA Chargers to win and cover this game, but I will not be putting my money on it. I see it being like 27-24, 24-21, but also look for the status of the QBs in this game. Las Vegas, my biggest frustration of the year. And the Raiders aren't even like a 1-2-3 favorite of mine for teams. I just thought they'd be a lot better team this year, and they've been the one team that I probably lost more money on than any other team in the NFL this year. Las Vegas, and I definitely haven't profited. That's been, actually, Dallas Cowboys games have been pretty good to me, I feel. But I'll have to look it up and track it and do the actual research so I can give you the proper stats, because I'm just sort of thinking with how it feels, and sometimes how it feels isn't always the way it is when you look at the numbers and track everything. Las Vegas, plus 3.5 in Seattle to face the Seahawks. Over under 47.5 on this one. Home team 7-2 against spread. The favorites 4-1 against spread. Raiders are 9-4 against spread. Their last 13 versus the Seahawks. Vegas is 2-4 straight up versus Seattle. Their last 6 meetings. Raiders are 0-5 straight up in Seattle. Vegas is 1-6 straight up their last 7 road games. Hawks are 4-1 against spread. Their last 5 overall and 4-1 straight up. Seattle's 5-2 against spread. Their last 7 at home. Geno Smith leads NFL in completion percentage at 72.8. Smith has tossed 17 TDs with only 4 INTs this year. Running back Kenny Walker has 587 rushing yards, 7 TDs, 103 receiving yards. Smith hasn't started this many games in a season. That's my only concern with Seattle heading into the stretch run of the season. But I do believe they have been a great story this year, a good surprise team. I think they'll do enough to win this game, especially being at home. I don't think they're going to cover the spread, though. I think Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, and Derek Carr are going to threaten them. They could win this game. It wouldn't surprise me. This is a stay-away game for me as well. I'm going to roll with Seattle to win by a field goal in this game here. LA Rams plus 15.5. This line keeps moving as well. In Kansas City to face the 8-2 Chiefs. 15.5 point home favorites. Over under 42.5 on this one. Rams are 0-5-1 against spread versus KC. Rams are 2-9-1 against spread their last 12 games overall. LA's 1-6 straight up their last 7 overall. Rams are 0-6-1 against spread versus the Chiefs and 1-6 straight up. LA have lost 7 straight games played in November. Chiefs are 3-6 against spread last 9 overall and 6-1 straight up their last 7. Kansas City is 12-2 straight up their last 14 home games. Chiefs are 2-5 against spread their last 7 overall as a favorite. Stafford, will he play? Concussion protocol. Cooper Kupp out. IR. Too much for Rams to keep pace. I see this as a blowout. I don't see how they can keep pace at all with Kansas City in this one. They're just so beat up with injuries, and they've released 2 running backs within the last week as well, the Rams have. I'm not putting my money on this big a number. This is like a same game parlay where I'm playing like Mahomes to throw more than 2.5 touchdown passes with Kansas City favored by I'm just throwing numbers out here. I haven't looked. I don't know what it'll pay. I'm just sort of picking things that I might do to tease this number down, like Kansas City minus 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, something like that. Keep it under that 9-10 number, especially under that 9.5 number. Maybe who else will I put? Like Kelsey in anytime TD. Kelsey over 50 receiving yards. Mahomes over his TD passes as long as it's 2.5 or 1.5. And Kansas City by 6.5, 7.5, 8.5 or something like that. That's probably how I'll go about that game. And then maybe hope that LA can score early points. Squeeze that number down on Kansas City, and maybe I can just play that straight up spread where I don't have to worry about a little same game parlay to mark it. I think I'm playing Call of Duty or some shit like that. Mark them. But anyways, so I can play the game that way. Sorry, my blunt's falling out of my ear. Got out that for after I do my video. that's the way I'm going to go on that game. Kansas City to win and cover, but it's a stay away game for me if I'm talking about my money. New Orleans plus 9.5 in San Fran to face the Niners. 9.5 point home favorites. Over under set at 43 on this game. Over 6-0 their last 6 meetings in San Fran and 7-2-1 their last 10 meetings. Imagine how thirsty I'm going to be after I hit this shit. Because I don't share this to myself. That's solo shit. That's how I fucking do my shit anyway. The road team's 5-1 against spread. Saints are 2-6 against spread their last 8 versus the Niners. New Orleans is 2-4 against spread their last 6 overall. Saints are 3-7 straight up their last 10 overall. Saints are 9-4 straight up their last 13 versus San Fran. New Orleans is 1-4 against spread their last 5 road games. San Fran is 12-6 against spread their last 18 overall. Niners have won 5 of their last 7 overall. San Fran is 7-1 straight up their last 8 home games. Niners D has held opponents to 16 or fewer points in 3 straight games now that they're getting healthy. You can see the big difference, and that's why I really, in the NFC, I only see Fly Eagles fly, Dallas Cowboys, and San Fran as the serious threats in that conference. Minnesota, they're a nice story, but the Eagles smothered them and beat them down. Dallas smothered them and beat them down. And I can't remember about a Niners-Minnesota game they played. I apologize. It's not in my brain right now. Where was I? Saints are 9-4 straight up their last 13 versus San Fran. Niners have won 5 of their last 7 overall. Did that one. Saints are 0-4 against spread their last 4 games on grass. New Orleans doesn't pressure the QB and has trouble stopping the run. Doesn't sound like a good recipe when you're facing the weapons that San Fran has on their offense, especially with the addition of Christian McCaffrey. The reason I'm not as concerned with San Fran is because, sorry to say, and I'm not saying this to be cruel to McCaffrey, but I just don't see him being healthy. Like, when was the last time he played half a season, let alone a full fucking season? I hope he stays healthy. I hope he has a successful year, but I don't think he's going to be able to stay healthy. And the closer it gets to the playoffs, that means he's going to be missing the playoffs with an injury of some sort. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong for his sake. I'd love to see him stay healthy and see what he can do over the course of a full season. It has been years since we've had the privilege of watching him at full health over the course of a season. I like San Fran to win this. I like them to cover, but again, this is going to be an in-game play. It'll be a same-game parlay where I'm teasing this number down from 9.5. It's too much for me in reality, so maybe I'll put a small plans and no, like, I'm just staying away from this game. This is an in-game play, or tease that number down with the same-game parlay. If you like McCaffrey, tease them yards, whatever his over-under is for rushing and receiving. Go to the milestone section of your parlay section, or at least on Bet365. FanDuel sets it up a little bit differently. Those are the 2 sports books I currently use. I'm looking to add a third, but somebody out there, hit me up if you want me to join your sports book. Let me know, and I could make it my 3rd sports book I use. Or maybe it's the one I promote if you guys come with something good. Anyways, I'll pick San Fran, but that's something to look for in-game for me. Not really a game I like putting my money on. Green Bay plus 6.5 in Philly to face the 9-1 Eagles. Over under 46.5 on this one. The unders hit the last 5 meetings in Philly and 8-2 the last 10 overall between these 2 teams. Green Bay 6-2 against spread their last 8 versus the Eagles, and 6-2 straight up. Road teams 5-2 against the spread. Packers are 2-6 against spread their last 8 overall, and 1-6 straight up their last 7 games. Green Bay is 1-5 straight up on the road. Eagles are 2-4 against spread their last 6 overall. Philly's 9-1 straight up this year, as I mentioned. Eagles are 4-1 straight up versus the NFC North. When A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones combined for 120 plus rushing yards, Packers are 3-1 this year. When they don't reach that milestone, Packers are 1-6, and those numbers are straight up. Slay and or Bradbury should be able to slow down Christian Watson. He's the rookie wideout for Green Bay that had them 3 TD catches in that one game. I don't like Green Bay's chances in this game against Philadelphia. Sure, they can run out with Dillon and Jones, but adding Sue and Linval, Joseph, The Eagles' run D, they only gave up, 3 yards per rush? And when they have all their players, especially Jordan Davis when he's healthy, they were only giving up 2.9 yards per rush. So it's not like the run defense is as porous as some people are making it out to be. Especially, I hear people saying that they like Dallas better than the Eagles now, and I'm cool with that. But then they come with a bullshit reason and saying it's because of the Eagles' run D. Well, I hate to break it to you, but the Eagles' run D is much better than the Cowboys' run D. If you want to say because you like Dak Prescott and the weapons that Dallas has, fine. If you want to say you prefer Dallas's defense, fine. If you want to say you prefer their linebacker core with Micah Parsons leading the way, or their D-line with DeMarcus Lawrence, I might disagree with you, but fine. At least it's a legit argument or discussion that can be had, but don't say it's because the Eagles run D, especially if you're bigging up the Cowboys and that's your reason for bigging up the Cowboys. And everybody knows I haven't hated on the Cowboys this year. They won me a lot of fucking money. I've been pretty good with the Cowboys. I think them and the Eagles are the class of the NFC. And San Fran, depending on McCaffrey, whether he stays healthy and their defense stays healthy, because that defense is scary when they're healthy. I think that's the cream of the crop in the NFC to me. I like the Eagles to win this game. I like them to cover the spread in this game. I'll be playing this game in-game as well, because I think that number is just about right. I like the Eagles to win. I could see this game being closer. I could see them blowing out Green Bay and finally finding their offensive stride, because I just don't see how Green Bay is going to score. I don't think Rodgers has the weapons. This isn't the Green Bay that a lot of these stats are based off of. This Green Bay with Devontae Adams and all their weapons, their offensive line healthy, their D playing good. This is a totally different team. I think Green Bay's in turmoil. I think they're falling apart right now. Sorry, James. Shout out my boy James. He's a big Packers fan, Packers supporter, but I just think your team is falling apart this year. I hope they can get it together. Maybe it's time to move on from Rodgers and see what that young kid, Love? I forget his fucking name, can do at quarterback from you after they lose to my Eagles, Eagles, James, on Sunday. Anyways, Eagles win this game. I like them to win by a touchdown, but this will be same game parlay game that I'll be focusing on for me as well. Who am I kidding? I always put a bit of money on my Eagles if I really like their chances. This week I really do like their chances, so I'll put a small bet on them. I'll put them in a lot of parlays, maybe tease them in not a lot of parlays, but the odd parlay. That'll be mainly focused on Baltimore, Tennessee, and the next game I'm talking about, the Monday Nighter. And I might surprise you with what side I am on in this one. Pittsburgh Steelers in Indianapolis to face the Colts. Colts are 2.5-point home favorites. 1-1 under Jeff Saturday. Over-under set at 39 on this one. Home team 6-1 against spread. Steelers are 5-1 against spread their last 6 versus Indy. Pitt are 2-7 straight up their last 9 overall. Steelers have won 7 straight versus the Colts. Pittsburgh's 1-5 straight up on the road. So these numbers are sort of going back and forth with which team they support. Steelers are 6-0 against spread versus AFC South. But that's the other thing I want to stress here too. I give you guys the numbers that support both sides or every side. I just put all the numbers out there that are good and bad for both teams. And then you guys can make the decision which numbers you feel are more relevant for each game. Or like some people, they just want that, what is it? Fuck, I forget what it's called though. Just basically to hear what they want to hear from the stats that I list. They'll only want to hear this side because it agrees with their thought process on how they're approaching this game and how they want to bet it and who they think's going to win based on their likes or dislikes or stats or whatever the case may be for the knowledgeable or unknowledgeable, the rookies or the experienced bettors that might be listening. Colts have lost 4 of their last 5 overall. India's 1-9 straight up last 10 versus the AFC North. Colts are 1-6 against spread their last 7 games when they've been favorites. TJ Watt, he's who I expect to have the biggest impact on this game, and against an inconsistent Colts O-line that has been fluctuating more than a roller coaster or hills in a real rocky place. I don't know, Colorado maybe. That's the first thing I can think of with mountains, or Vancouver, BC, if you're on the Canadian side of the border. I like the Steelers D to record a touchdown in this game. I like Pittsburgh to not only cover, but I think they can eke out a win in this one. I think this could be like a 17-16 game, a 13-10 type game. I think both defenses are going to shut down the offenses. I could see this even being a 10-9 game with a touchdown field goal for the winning team against 3 field goals for the losing team. I think the defense will control this game. I like the Steelers in the upset, and I will be parlaying them with the other teams I mentioned in the video. Good luck with all your Week 12 picks. Like, share, follow, subscribe to my shit. Help me out, support me. Peace.